This podcast is produced by Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency. The Collective Us, an NMCAA podcast, focuses on inspiring you through stories of those we've helped through our programming or by linking local resources to community members in need. Join us as we learn about the programs offered through NMCAA and how we touch people's lives every day. Welcome back to The Collective Us. I'm Erica Austin.
And I'm Ryan Buck. Thank you, Collective, for checking us out today. As always, we're here to excitedly engage in important conversations and highlight a program that is making a huge difference for those in need.
That's right, Ryan. Today, we are back to talk about our homeless prevention programs. We've had several episodes now where we've talked about the importance of this work, the stigma surrounding this issue, success stories, and more. But today, we'd like to focus on seeing the unseen and community support.
So this is a quick one. Quickly introducing our guests. We are welcoming back to the studio another MVP on the show, NMCAA's Director of Homeless Programs, Sarah Hughes. Welcome back.
Thank you. We also have in the studio today Forest Area Federal Credit Union's Marketing Director, Jason Grant. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you both for being here. Now, listeners may be wondering, why is Forest Area Federal Credit Union a part of this episode? How does this all tie together? I assure you, we will deliciously discuss all of that throughout this episode.
Yes, can't wait to dive in. Sarah, you and I talked a bit about this episode before recording, and you were the first to mention seeing the unseen. Can you tell us what you mean by that?
Absolutely. So throughout all of our 10 counties and our 23 veteran counties, we have a ton of unseen community partners and community supports throughout our region. And it's really important to remember that we can't do this work alone. That even with the federal and state funding, we only can get about a 10% fraction of the people who are actively homeless in programming. So if we don't have the outside active support of our community, we're not going to be able to end homelessness. And that is our goal. We want to end homelessness in our region.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Every time I hear it, I love the intensity of that. And based on the statistical research that we presented on the show before, there are a lot of great things that are happening and we are able to make a difference. Homelessness in rural areas is something we, generally speaking, often don't hear about. You typically think about people experiencing homelessness in more sprawling municipalities, as it were. So from both of you, actually, what are some of the challenges that come along with being homeless in a rural area like ours?
So some of the things people don't realize is there are encampments in very, very unseen rural areas out on 2 tracks and even behind buildings where we get some reports, hey, we had a whole family sleeping here last night, or we have a car in the parking lot of the local dollar store, and the dollar store will call us and say, hey, there's a family out here. I think you need to connect with them. So I think everybody's used to this availability of shelter in the bigger cities and communities, but a lot of our counties, we cover 23 extremely rural counties. Yes, we cover Traverse City as well, but the other counties just don't have that shelter capacity. And so a lot of the people that we serve, we are finding wherever they're at. So it's really important for the community to reach out to us too if they see something so that we make sure that we connect those people with services as soon as possible.
Yeah. And what's the best way to reach out?
So the best way to reach out is to call our 844 number. So it's 844-900-0500.
Perfect.
It's interesting. You touched on a couple of things that I took note of, specifically potentially how to report that. You said something, I thought that was interesting. When you call, don't say, there are some scary people outside. Do you mind, again, I thought that was really wonderful. So from a citizen standpoint, we all live here in the community. When you call...
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there and unprecedented biases because we think of homeless having all these problems and maybe destructive or disruptive. And often there are people just trying to survive. So they're doing whatever they can to survive in that moment, and they can't think outside of that survival. So if we just take a moment and remember that they're individuals, they're people, they're families, and they have fallen on hard times, and something was the catalyst, but we don't know what that is. And it's very rarely drugs or alcohol. Mental health does have something to do with it, but we've also had people who were in the hospital for 6 months, lost their housing, got out of the hospital, and then didn't have a place to go. And it's really just important important to remember that they're human beings and they need support. So how do you get them that support, and how do you respect them for where they're at and just make them feel like human beings?
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So what are some challenges you face as the director of these programs helping these people experiencing homelessness, being that we're in a rural area?
So I think it's really misunderstood that just because we run housing programs that we have housing available. We have over 400 people in our region who are homeless, and an additional like 100 people in the 13 outlining veteran communities. And there's no housing that NMCAA owns. We do have housing programs with supports, but we have to prioritize those that are most in need. And it's really terrible to say, but we are looking at who could die the next on the streets. And that's who we're going to put in our next open slot for our programming. And so that's really where we struggle with the community, because people will call and be like, I don't have a place to live. I need housing. And it really doesn't work that way because we don't have that availability. We don't have the funding. We have 80 program slots across our 23 counties with over 500 people homeless. And when you think about that, it's like a very small percentage of the population that we can help. And then those programs can run up to 2 to 3 years. So the moving out or moving up of clients is very slow, because we're helping people until they can become independent and don't need our services anymore. And we work with all of our community partners, just like Forest Area Federal Credit Union, because they can help with budgeting and loans and just getting people financially stable. And when you have these wonderful partnerships, that really adds additional supports for all the people that we serve.
Yeah. Wow, those numbers are really staggering.
Well, it is, and it seems like an increasingly uphill battle always, but as you said, and as a consistent on this show, and within how NMCAA operates in the community, partnerships. And I've personally learned a lot, and I think our community learns a lot about what it takes to do this. And these partners who, to their credit, I've not heard of this. I've not heard that Forest Area is helping in this way. So I'm learning this new right here. So Jason, having community partners like yourself engage in this way is critical. So can you share from your perspective, you're supporting NMCAA, why specifically the homeless programs? Why is that a problem that you've targeted and focused on to help?
Basically, I guess it was a couple years ago when I first came in contact with Sarah, and we were kind of discussing what a partnership would look like, because there was a very similar footprint of our field of membership and NMCAA's footprint and where they covered. We were also looking at potentially, a partnership where we'd be able to help with the funding and then let them be able to figure out where that's going to be distributed. And that's when we started talking about homelessness. And it was eye-opening to me, similar to what Sarah was just saying. They're kind of out of sight in the rural communities. When you're in Traverse City or the larger metropolitan areas, it's very visible. They're there. You know about it. It's in the news. And in our rural communities that we cover, we didn't even really understand. We know it's there, but we didn't realize how big of a problem it was. And because we're so community-focused and we, our mission is to give back into our communities and support individuals, grow the communities, and it seemed like such a great opportunity to help that, to help people transition back into homeownership, get their lives in order, start managing their finances, figure out how to, gain credit back. Because if, similarly to what you were saying, but they're in the hospital, that affects their credit rating. They can't get loans to get a car to get to work and things like that. So we wanted to discuss how we could be a part of that and help out.
I find that fascinating because it feels like you're aligned with the full mission. And a big differentiator between what you're all doing is that it's not just meeting them where they are for the moment, it's meeting them where they are for the long term. And it feels like Forest Area really, that's a big picture that maybe you don't always see in a partner like this. It's usually what's the little gain, what gets us some marketing. And here, it really feels like there's good alignment there. Was that really part of the discussion when you looked at the sum total? It feels like a lot of care came from Forest Area.
I have been a part of Forest Area as a member since I was born. So my father was one of the founding board members with Rod when Forest Area was created, because he was trying to get a loan for a farm market out in Five Lake, and went to Rod because the banks wouldn't loan him money because it was just a really tough time in the late 70s, early 80s. So they partnered together with a group of guys, and they really changed the dynamics of the community and what borrowing was going to be and how it supported the everyday person on achieving their hopes and dreams. So when I contacted Jason, it was really like I already knew all the things that they did for our communities, the scholarships they do for young people to go to college, like all of the different things that they do. And I knew that their mission aligned with ours. And so it was just kind of that pitch and helping them understand everything that we're doing and how we're so much in those rural communities and seeing what's there and how they can assist.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was something, too, where NMCAA has a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of organization going on. And we didn't know, when I first went into it, like, well, what way could we help the most? And it was this discussion. Obviously, Sarah's passion for this has helped out a lot, but it really seemed like that was something that we could, that they could benefit with our partnership on that specific program the most. And it seemed to, make logical sense.
In your role in marketing, is this something that you're always actively looking out for? Is that, a part of your role is looking out for partnerships? Is Forest Area normally looking for these types of things?
I try to, we do the standard, advertising and sponsorships and promotions. Mm-hmm. But even if we're doing things like a donation or a sponsorship, I try to be involved more than that. We just don't want to, we can give money and donate, but we want to see, hey, can our staff come and volunteer there? Are there ways that we can build programs to enhance that a little bit more? Like donating money is great, but how can we do more in that?
And that can help you energize your organization a little bit too?
Yep, absolutely.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, the volunteerism is really one of our core elements of the credit union, as from the tellers up to the board members. And we put that out in front of our staff and our members. Every month we have a newsletter. We list the top 5 volunteers. So we try to provide more opportunities for volunteerism as well. And when we can get out there and do things and partner, create special programs that maybe we've never had before, that's something that I'm always looking for, something that's a little bit more out of the box.
And expanding on that volunteer, actually next Monday on President's Day, 70 individuals from Forest Area are putting together welcome home baskets for our homeless population when they move into a new house. They don't have a lot of the things that they need. And so they're putting together some welcome baskets for people when they're moving in. So how amazing is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I love that you guys started talking about this because that's exactly where our next questions are going.
Good transition.
It's like we've done this before.
Yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit more about, obviously, you're helping out with these welcome baskets. What are some of the other projects that you guys have done at Forest Area in the recent years that have helped out our community as well?
Yeah, we do. So we have these development days twice a year, and we always try to do, it's professional development for the staff. We close the branches so everyone's there, and we try to do some type of community volunteer program. A couple of years ago, we were at the Restore, the Habitat for Humanity in Cadillac, and they were doing a big remodel, and we were moving things around, just getting dirty and help them get their store, the room for storage. We were, making a little bit more organized and moving things around for
all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
That everybody wants to get in to do.
Gloves and safety goggles and everything. It was fun. So that was one. And then last year for our February Development Day, we partnered with Sleep in Heavenly Peace, who builds beds for children who don't have beds. Mm-hmm. And it was, similarly to the homelessness, it's one of those things where you don't really think about, these children may have homes, but for whatever reason, they don't have furniture. They might be, in a situation that they don't have beds and they're sleeping on the floors. And this organization builds beds for these youths and donates them. And so we went in and built beds for a whole day there as the entire credit union. And it was just these things like that. We have new employees that come in and they experience that type of program, and it just blows their mind. And
you find that helps with a retention culture in a business?
We wish we could do it even more.
Of course.
But it definitely does, because that's really what our culture is all about, is that give back to the communities and being out there just from our core. It's not just us talking the talk. We want to be out there and actually help building the communities physically.
And those numbers Sarah was talking, I mean, I know we're a small community, but 70 members of that team, those are pretty good numbers for TC and around, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sarah, I'm sure we've asked this before, but if someone were inspired by what Jason's just shared with us in terms of the welcome baskets, is that something that people could donate to us or maybe reach out in terms of volunteering? What does that look like on our end?
So it really depends on what they're looking to do. We don't have a lot of volunteer opportunities to work directly with the homeless because we really try to keep that confidentiality and make sure that their rights are respected. But we always do need things like food cards and gas cards and things for baskets. So I would say to reach out to me. And you can find my information on the NMCAA website and email me, call me, whatever works for you. And I can talk to you about what we need and how we can partner.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that. So now I need you to pardon my interruption because it is time to call out milestone career achievements.
Well, this is an exciting one.
It is a very exciting one. So in February, we are celebrating with quite a few people. Stephanie Tysick has 5 years with NMCAA.
Bruce Fisher, 10 years.
Amy Moulogne, 10 years.
Tessa Tusher, 10 years.
Diane Bucko has 23 years.
Tammy Ristu, 29 years.
29. And Mr. Chuck Friedel is our 40-year tenured employee.
That's wild.
So, yeah.
Wasn't there a 50th anniversary celebrated?
Yeah. I mean, Chuck's been in this for 40. That's incredible. So special shout out to Chuck. Fun fact, Chuck is only one of 3 people who have reached the 40-year mark with NMCAA. So yeah, again, take a minute, let that sink in. 50 years. He's been here for 40. I did ask Chuck recently when I saw him, is retirement in his plans?
Oh, really?
And he was like, not anytime soon.
Really? Really?
So seriously, though, thank you for all of your hard work, everyone, including Chuck, to everything you do to support your community and your neighbors.
That's wild. Unbelievable.
So let's shift gears and move to Comedy for Community. This is our 3rd annual Comedy for Community event. Sarah, can you just give us a quick overview of the event? What are we expecting?
So our Comedy for Community event is really our homeless prevention department working with community supports, again, the venue and the truck stop, as well as community sponsors like the Forest Area Federal Credit Union. And we put on a comedy show, and this year we actually have a guest singer as well. So you go and have a night of entertainment, and the food is provided as well for your dinner, and there is silent auction baskets available. And it really goes to help support things that our grants can't support. So application fees for housing, past utility bills, food and gas cards, clothing, bedding. Clothing is a big one when people are looking for jobs and we don't realize that they need those things because they don't have them. And so we love to be able to have this little bit of unrestricted funds that we can use to help support people to grow and become more independent. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you're using humor to get those good endorphins going. And it's always, I've never been to the event, but I've had friends who've gone and they say it's wonderful. It's taking place on March 1st. And Jason, Forest Area, is a sponsor this year also?
Yes.
Will you be there and what are you wearing?
I'll be wearing Giorgio Armani.
Fantastic. That'll look good in front of the Step and Repeat.
Probably Levi's and LL Bean, actually.
So will that. Whatever you do will be trend-setting, but will you be there? Are you excited for something like this?
Yes, I will be most likely, but we will definitely have representation there for sure.
That's awesome. So not a bad work event to have to go to as far as work
enjoy,
events are.
It's tough, but I enjoy going to these events.
That is good. Well, I mean, Armani probably will look good on you now that I'm thinking about it, so I want to go to see that.
Last year was the first silent auction, so we're doing that again this year because it turned out pretty good last year. What kind of things could people expect to see or perhaps bid on? Do we know yet?
I don't know yet. I know that we have all the same sponsors for our baskets that we had last year. And last year there was some amazing things. So come out and see what's available because it's really a fantastic thing that all of the community is getting together and putting forth. And this event is really supported by so many people.
Is the silent auction on a phone? Do you have that kind of What does that look like? I've been out of the silent auction game in a while. Maybe others have. What does it look like logistically as you're walking through?
So you can purchase tickets, and you can do that via our QR code so that you don't have to transfer any kind of funds, and you'll get the number tickets to you that you buy, and then you just put tickets in a thing and bid for them, and you write your name and what your bid is.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
It's not super techy. This
No. That's stress-free.
Yeah.
I just like to get into the space, just see what it looks like, because I'm known to make very clutch and wrong bids at these types of things. So I just want to know what I'm up against if I go. We've got a thing hanging in our kitchen that my wife still just shakes her head at.
So most of the silent auction, you do have a form that you can just fill out what your bid is and put your name on it. And then there is tickets for I don't know what it's called. Like when you just, it's a general, that nobody's bidding on, it's a draw.
50-50 raffle?
No, it's not.
It's not a 50. Oh, there is a raffle of some kind.
It's a new thing.
I wasn't there last year, so I don't remember the details.
I'll just say.
So there's a mystery component to this?
There may be a mystery component to
I
this.
think you should just, in comedy, suggest comedian, I suppose. You mentioned a singer, so can you share the deets on who's going to be making everybody laugh and make their hearts swell?
Yes, absolutely. So Devin Keast is going to be our featured comedian.
Yep.
That's awesome. And Sam Cronkite is music during dinner.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
fantastic.
And so that's important to mention as well, that dinner is included with the ticket purchase. And I believe we have, what is the ticket price for
It's
pre-purchased?
$35 pre-purchased and $40 at the door.
That's great. And tickets are available ahead of time. Can you get online and get tickets ahead of time through the Facebook page or anything?
Yep, it's available on the Facebook page as well as our website.
Yep, you should be able to find the link on the events page on nmcaa.net. And then also you can, if you're on Eventbrite, I don't know if people go directly on there typically, but it's on there and you can buy your tickets right through Eventbrite. So, yeah.
And the meal provided is by the truck stop in Cadillac, correct?
Correct. They donate all the fixins for a wonderful barbecue and mac and cheese. And every year the food is phenomenal.
That's tremendous. Okay, we all know that food brings people out. So we'll just let that salivate in our mouths for a second. And the event does good while having a good time. And now it's time to get really serious. I know we've been just talking about barbecue and mac and cheese just for the last minute. But the collective knows, and they expect this from us, we need to end with a hard-hitting question. So Jason, if you could give a small piece of advice to someone who is looking to get involved in community or outreach or volunteering, what would you tell them and why?
I would say, there are a lot of opportunities out there. NMCAA is a great resource to, have people be able to recommend places where there are opportunities for volunteerism, going to local outlets like Goodwill or places that are kind of top of mind are a great place to start. Also look at what your interests are. Maybe you like pets, go to the local refuge league or animal shelter. They're always looking for volunteers, or if it's not time, then they're looking for products or things that you can donate or cash donations, something along those lines. The reason to do it is really within everyone's individual self. A lot of it is just to be able to help and grow your community. Helping people who need a little bit of a hand up instead of a handout helps develop the entire community and grows everyone as a whole. And it feels good personally, when you go in and do that and you feel like you're contributing to the community and helping people out, it's something that you can feel good about and sleep well at the end of the night.
Yeah. Awesome. Sarah, this is a hard one. 3 years in now, what are you most looking forward to at Comedy for Community?
I think it's the building of that community that attends, because we do see some of the same people that come back, and really we do have a amount of levity with the situation and the name, but we also talk about some of the real truths of homelessness during that Comedy for Community event. And I think the more we know, the more we can support those in need and realize that it is a community effort that will end homelessness, not just one agency.
Yeah, That's great. I love that. Before we get to Ryan's take, I'd like to just confirm with both of you, if someone were interested, maybe they want to switch to Forest Area after hearing all your wonderful words today. What's the best way for them to do that? Should they stop by a local branch, give a call? How could they contact?
Yeah, we try to make it as easy as possible. And it is a challenge sometimes because people, don't understand how credit unions are different than banks. And they think, I need to be a member. That's a challenge, that's so hard. And it's hard to transfer my accounts over, and we try to make it as easy as possible. That's something that it's a constant process to streamline things, to kind of keep it simple as possible. But we have access in the branches, through our website. You can apply to be a member right there. We have an online banking platform called Evergreen, where you can do face-to-face virtual banking with our representatives that are based right in Fife Lake. They can get you to sign up to be a member there, help you transfer funds, whatever needs to happen. But probably one of the best places to start is forestarea.com or our Facebook page as well.
Awesome. Thanks. And Sarah, real quick, can you remind us of that intake number and the best way to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. It's 844-900-0500.
Perfect. And it's now time for Ryan's take.
Oh, well, this is once again, wonderful episode featuring partners. And I continue to be amazed and uplifted by the partners that NMCAA engages with. In Jason and Forest Area, it seems a really prolific one because, I've lived in big cities. I've lived in San Francisco. And so I feel like I've, seen a lot of how homelessness impacts people, but it really does impact people and visually here, but so does the solutions. So I like that there's intensity, but that such a prolific partner is here at the table. It's really exceptional. And I can only hope that Jason does 5 minutes at Comedy for Community about why the Nor'easter is the best pizza on the East Coast or something, because I think he'll look great in Armani, and just give him 5. Give him a tight 5.
Armani might be a little out of place in
Yeah.
Cadillac.
Maybe it looks ironic then.
Yeah, it would be funny.
Well, thank you so much. A couple of reminders before we wrap up today. If you or someone you know is experiencing homelessness, please call 1-844-900-0500. NMCAA has also begun taking interest forms for Head Start and GSRP for the 2025-2026 school year. So if you have a child who is 3 or 4 years of age and interested in free preschool programming, go to nmcaa.net to fill out an interest form today.
Also, NMCAA's Laundry Project takes place weekly in Traverse City for community members in need. To learn more about that, contact NMCAA by calling 231-947-3780.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, please share this episode or the show link on social media. Follow the podcast to know when a new episode drops and rate the show. It truly helps us continue to get the word out on all the good NMCAA does in the community.
If you would like to become a sustaining donor with a recurring gift or contribute a one-time donation, please check out nmcaa.net/donate or send us a message at collectiveuspodcast@nmcaa.net.
And to learn more about Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency or the programs we offer, or would like to make a donation, we encourage you to reach out at 231-947-3780 or visit our website, nmcaa.net. And to the collective today, we encourage you to continue to strive each day to do something to help yourself or your neighbors.